Good morning. Beautiful morning out here, but pretty windy, so hopefully this comes through. What was on my mind this morning was something that certain friends of mine, or people I have known at university, have said to me. And that is that they don't believe in the armed forces. They don't think there should be an armed forces. They don't believe in the police, and they don't think there should be a police. And I think that is tremendously misguided. I respect these people. Some of them I hold in high regard. But I think that particular opinion doesn't make any sense. In fact, I think that it's dangerously naive when considering the function of both the armed forces and the police. You see, my girlfriend has something she likes to say about people in the West, in the US and Canada, who like to complain about there being a standing military or a police. What she likes to say is, these people have had it too good for too long. They don't remember why these things were put in place in the first place. And I can't help but agree. I think it's a naive position. If you don't understand why a country would need an armed forces or why a country would need a police force, I don't think you're in a position to advocate against one. But why would a country need an armed forces or a police force? Well, there's a common idea that the police force was instigated to control runaway slaves in the United States. I think that idea is preposterous beyond words and doesn't account for how every civilized country on earth and many uncivilized countries all came to their own idea of a police force. I also think the belief that police forces in Canada are essentially nothing but aggregized slave patrols, or were historically so, is tremendously dangerous. And why is that? Because here's the thing people don't understand about both of these organizations. It is that they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by exposing themselves to nightmares that people can hardly imagine when they don't hold those professions. They willingly expose themselves to the most horrific of criminality, the most horrific conditions in war, so that you do not have to. People seem to think, in a very shallow way, that if there were no armies, there would be no war. If there were no police, there would be no crime. This is not true. In fact, the opposite is more likely. A lot of these people have only ever lived in a world where the police and the military were protecting them from foreign powers and domestic threats and local threats their entire lives. They can probably not even imagine what life would be like if you didn't have a standing police force or a standing armed forces. Take somewhere like El Salvador or Guatemala 10 years ago, where the police presence was essentially non-existent, or where it existed, it was corrupt. Down there. He told me stories of people getting killed in the streets like dogs with machetes and that being a normal thing. He told me about the brothels that kidnapped children in the night and then would kill you if you tried to take them back. Sold them into the sex trade at 6, 8 years old. These are the types of things that when they happen domestically, the police have to deal with, especially in places like Canada and the US, where it is not tolerated. And the police are, by and large, uncorrupt. These are also the type of people that the armed forces has to expose themselves to. But they also expose themselves to people who've trained their entire lives to kill armed forces members and who have become very good at it. And they willingly expose themselves to those people in an attempt to defend us into this country with their beliefs and their horrifying practices. That is not to say either of these organizations is beyond reproach, but that reproach needs to contain respect. Both organizations can improve. No one's saying they can't, but both need to exist. Anyway, they both need to exist because people cannot imagine what it would be like without them. Anyway, that's all that was on my mind today. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think that the police and the armed forces are necessary? Or maybe you've lived somewhere where they weren't as much of a presence and things were pretty bad. Let me know. Or maybe you disagree. Maybe you're like some of my friends who think that no, there would be no consequences, or the consequences would be worth it of abolishing these organizations and professions. Either way, let me know. Have a good day.